you have working class people all across the country, but in London, the majority of the working class in inner London, are um, not white working class boys. They are black and brown kids. They are first, second, third generation immigrants, and that is a very, very different culture and a very, very different attitude to education. I came up to the Midlands, and the majority of the working class students that I teach are white. And the boys, the attitude that the boys have toward education and their future and their options and what's available to them and the future and life is shockingly different. I anticipated a difference, but it's so much more stark than I thought it would be. And the attitudes of families toward education and the support schools are getting and what families are doing to help educate their kids at home. And I am talking about years 0 to 5 is shockingly different.
So I'm going to interrupt because I'm really interested to hear about the culture there. But I want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier, Ray. You said about money, and if I'm understanding you, you're saying that it doesn't sort of affect, well, basically the quality of schools and the quality of education. Now, I'm not going to say there's a strict correlation between you pay more, you get better stuff. It's not going to be that simple, but it must be a factor, right? I mean, teachers have gone on strike for it quite a lot. It's obviously something that can, in some cases, determine whether people stay in the profession or go into it in the first place. I know it's very hard to prove the negative, but if salaries, basically, if graduate teaching was a much more lucrative career, because I don't think anyone would call it lucrative now. If it was, let's say, more lucrative at least, surely you would see more people going into it. You would see more competition. You would see people working harder at getting it, which, I mean, that's got to be a factor, right?
Yes, it is. But the reason London pay is increases because it is so unbelievably expensive to live there compared to everywhere else. So
I don't know. I pick you up on that. So I used to live in Cambridge, and let me tell you, property prices there—they're pretty horrendous.
But of course, London on Sea, isn't it, or nearabouts?
Yeah, exactly. There are some really, places where the property and first cost of living, transport, blah blah blah, are super expensive, and yet the pay doesn't reflect that at all.
No.
And you do notice it.
Yeah. But I think the funding the schools get, I do think money comes into it. But I did a whole show on this a year or two ago. What I attributed to the difference, or partly attributed to the difference, was just the nearness of opportunities that students in London have. So that's not even necessarily a money thing. That's a proximity to money thing. That's a proximity to different industries. It's a proximity to, like, your neighbor works in central London at some record company, so that's where you get your work experience because you have that connection, and suddenly you're bumping shoulders with all these people you never imagined you like. Everything is so close in that
you go on a school trip to the British Museum or something.
Exactly. So the schools, it's not even necessarily the funding or the salary of the staff, but it's just the availability of opportunities. It's such a wide range of different opportunities that these kids have that the students that I teach in the Midlands just do not have available to them. And that opens, when you experience that many